Hello everybody, and welcome to Kobe's Classroom, the visual guide for the Fight Futures Rewritten Ultimate, Phase 3. This guide uses early strats that we've been using in the Materia Data Center, so things can, and probably will, change a bit. You can use this guide to understand the mechanics and a way to handle them. You can keep up to date with all of this at materiarating.com/FRU. Without further ado, let's get started. At the end of the Phase 2 intermission, Metron uses Junction. This is just a raid wide I forgot to mention last time. When the Oracle of Darkness becomes targetable, she'll start to cast Hell's Judgment, which just sets everyone's HP to 1 for you to heal up. She'll then jump to the middle and cast Ultimate Relativity, which is the first of 2 mechanics in this phase. It begins with a raid wide, which gives everyone some debuffs. Let's take a look at them. There's Dark Fire, which is a large circle AoE, Dark Blizzard, which is a donut AoE, Dark Eruption, which is a small circle AoE, Shadow Eye, a circular gaze radiating from the player, Unholy Darkness, which is a party stack, Dark Water, which is a party stack, and Return, that will place a circle and teleport you back to that location later. These debuffs are distributed by roles. 2 supports get a 30-second fire and 1 support gets a 20-second fire. 2 DPS get a 10-second fire, and 1 DPS gets a 20-second fire. The last 2 will either be a 20-second ice on a support and a 30-second fire on a DPS, or a 10-second fire on a support and a 20-second ice on a DPS. Here, a support has ice, so a DPS has the 30-second fire. Gaia starts casting Speed, which will tether to some of the traffic lights. The traffic lights will shoot some lasers at the closest player, and give a fire vuln up. A yellow tether speeds up the traffic light, so the laser comes out sooner. The purple tether slows it down. These tethers are always in the same pattern, a yellow Y pattern, but its orientation is random. We make the yellow Y our new north. Some people call this Bowls North. I will not call it Bowls North. Once we have our new north, we can go to these relative clock spots based on our debuffs. The supports take the places from west to northeast, with the 20-second fire west, the ice or 10-second fire north, the 30-second fire are northwest and northeast based on a prior system, H1, MT, OT, H2 with west to east priority. The DPS will be from east to southwest, with the 20-second fire east, the ice or 30-second fire south, and just like the support, the 10-second fires will be southwest or southeast based on a prio, D3, D1, D2, D4 from west to east. This mechanic is dealt with in 5-second increments with a fairly simple method. At the start we determine our position, and then every 5 seconds we have the fire players move out and the party middle. Then in the next 5 seconds, players will bait their traffic lights and handle their rewind mechanic. Then the fire's out, party middle, then bait laser and handle rewind, fire out, party middle, bait lasers, and then the rewind occurs. Let's have a look at how all this comes together. The fire players with 5 seconds left move out, the party is in the middle. Debuffs resolve, and the first traffic lights start glowing. These are the yellow tethered ones. If the glowing traffic light is at your clock spot, you're baiting it. At the same time, the players with 5 seconds left on their rewind will position to drop it to handle their Dark Eruption, Gaze, or Water. Let's quickly have a look at some fairly precise positioning. To bait the lasers perfectly, you stand behind the purple part of the traffic light in the direction it's showing, and nudge just behind it until the black dot in the center of the clock above your head disappears. For the rewind players, if you have a dark, you're going to place your rewind on the ring just in front of the traffic light at your clock spot. If you have a gaze or the water, you're going to place it on the ring of the inner circle just towards your clock spot. We move to bait our lasers and drop our rewinds. The next people with fires move out. The ice, fire, and stack resolve. We bait the traffic lights, and the long rewind players place their rewinds. The last fire players move out. the final players bait their lasers. And finally, we all look towards our clock spot so we don't stare at the gaze when the rewinds resolve. We get teleported back to our rewind spots, and gazes, dark eruptions, and water stacks resolve. Immediately after, we get Shell Crusher, which is a party stack we take in the middle, followed up by Shockwave Pulsar, a raid wipe, and finally, Black Halo, a tank stack conal cleave. Check the mid sheet to see what to use for all of these.
Past, present, future. Infinite possibilities condensed into a single moment. Succumb to the darkness!
Our next and final mechanic is Hextuple Apocalypse. To start, we're going to send Light Party 1 west, Light Party 2 east, melee at the front, ranged at the back, support left, DPS right. Dark Water 3 will telegraph stacks on 6 random people, which will give them debuffs when the cast finishes. There will be 2 10 seconds water, 2 29 seconds, 2 38 seconds, and 2 no debuffs. We need one of each in both groups. Because who gets the debuffs are random, we sometimes need to adjust to do this, and we have a priority system for this, with the tanks having the highest swapping priority, then the melees, then ranged, and the healers are fixed in each group. How this works is that you check the other person with the same debuff or no debuff as you, and if they're in your group and you have a higher swap priority, you swap over to the other group, filling in the empty spot. So here, H1 and D3 have the 10-second water in group 1, so D3 will swap to group 2. And D4 and H2 have the 29-second water in group 2, so D4 swaps to group 1. Once the groups are sorted, we stick with the same group for the entire mechanic. We all stack with the first water going off. The boss starts casting Spirit Taker, which will jump to a random person and do AoE damage. You'll notice some small orbs in the middle and on 2 opposite sides. After the water stack, we immediately spread out for Spirit Taker. The outside orbs will begin moving clockwise or counterclockwise, and with that information we can determine positions for the rest of the mechanic. These orbs show where explosions will be a bit later. The first safe spots are next to the outside orbs, in the opposite direction than they're travelling. Here they're moving clockwise, so the safe spots would be counterclockwise of it, which is 1 and 3. Furthermore, the main tank will need to bait the boss a bit later. Their 2 possible safe spots will be 1 more waymark further than the safe spot, so here it will be B or D. Spirit Taker finishes, hitting someone. I'm going to stop animating the orbs here because it just becomes visual clutter, and we already have all the information we need. The most important thing to learn from here is the movement to dodge them. So after Spirit Taker, we move to our safe spots. Group 1 goes to the red or purple waymark, Group 2 goes to the yellow or blue waymark. The boss starts casting Dark Eruption, which will give everyone an AoE. The ranged player, close to where the first orbs were, can stand 2.5 notches away from the triangle marker without getting hit. The melees want to stand just outside of the large middle circle. Halfway through the cast bar, the first explosions go off. Immediately as the Dark Eruption finishes, you want to move into the middle following the line that your waymark is on, standing on the ring of the inner circle. You'll be safe from all the outside explosions here, staying stacked for the second water. The boss starts casting Darkest Dance, which will have her jump to the furthest player with a tank buster. After the second water, the main tank will run out to one of their safe spots along the line. Again, it's B or D here, to bait the Darkest Dance. Everyone else can stand right in the middle. The boss jumps to the tank, then we all stand behind her to get knocked back. Group 1 left, Group 2 right. Move towards the boss for the melees, staying stacked for the third water, and that's it. Shockwave Pulsar is a raid wide, and then finally the Enrage, Memory's End. You should get her below 20% to make it to phase 4.
Ruination! Oh, chaotic dark! Descend and quench light! Shadows fall! Her awakening is incomplete. Their memories weaken the link.
Thank you all for watching. I hope this video helped you out. I know I only showed you one iteration of mechanics that have a lot of variation, but it's all about understanding the process of how to deal with it, not learning all the possibilities. If this video did help, you can leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitch or Twitter at @BigKobeLive. I'm streaming the Ultimate nearly every day right now. We're at phase 5 and should clear in the next 2 days. Hope to see you all there, and in the next one. Peace.